Hi class, continuing on with our 1.4 lesson. Right, we just classified these angles as acute and obtuse. We'll do our last one here. We have KGH, KGH, so angle KGH. That angle measure, again, we started at that same spot, so we count the inside numbers here. We count out, my line's a little off here, it should be up a little higher, which is at 160 degrees. And again, just like the one before it, if it is greater than 90 but less than 180, this is an obtuse angle. Obtuse angle. So now the term congruent. We talked about this last week when we were talking about segments. It's the same idea when we talk with angles, right? If we say two things are congruent, it means they have the same length, same measure. In basic terms, they are equal, but they are congruent to one another, right? So angles that are congruent might be viewed as this, so I'll erase this real quick. Very similar to segments, right? We just have some type of arc or dash that classifies them as, these are congruent. That tells us right there, we put those little arcs in there that says these two angles are congruent. And so we could say angle ABC is congruent, again, notice that symbol, same as it's been, to angle DEF. So looking at this angle, notice we actually have a couple angles here. Let's look at the information we are given. We are given that angle ABD, the measurement of ABD is 32 degrees. Now the measurement of angle DBC is 40 degrees. It's now asking us, what is the measurement of ABC, or this whole blue angle here that we have? So I'm just going over it with blue. We already know it's blue there. We're trying to find that whole angle. And this is actually very similar to a postulate that we just talked about last week when we talked about segments, but now it is dealing with angles. And this is called the angle addition postulate. To find this answer, to find that measurement, all we have to do is add the two smaller angles that make up that angle. And we'll see that on this next page here. Right, the angle addition postulate. If point B is on the interior of angle AOC, so we notice point B is on the interior of this angle, then the measurement of AOB plus the measurement of BOC will give us that measurement of the whole angle. That's right, two smaller pieces adding together for the whole piece. Very similar to segment addition postulate. So we look at this one here. It's kind of a new idea here. We look and go, okay, well, measure of X, Y, W is 125 degrees. So that's saying this angle is 125 degrees. We are trying to find this angle. So I'm going to call that X for right now. We're trying to find that missing angle. What we have to think about is if we did not have this segment YW, we did not have that, right? We would have a straight angle, or what we call a 180 degree angle. And so, right, this whole distance, measurement-wise, is 180 degrees. So what we would do here is we would take 125 plus x equals 180 degrees. And then right from there, we're able to solve for this fairly easily. We find what's missing, we subtract the 125, and we would find that x is equal to 55 degrees. So last problem here for the day. We are told the measurement of RQT, so this whole angle here, is 155 degrees. What are the measurements of RQS and TQS? So we need to find these smaller angles here. What I'm going to do is think about, well, what did we just learn about? Well, we just learned about the angle addition postulate, which tells us that if we take the two smaller angles that make up the larger angle and add them together, that's how we find the large angle. So we just set that up in a math problem here, right? 4x minus 20 plus 3x, fix that real quick, sorry about that. 3x plus 14 is going to equal 155. So now what we're going to do, we're going to combine like terms. We get 7x, and negative 20 plus 14 would be minus 6 equals 155. So now we're going to add 6 to this. Right, 7x is equal to 161. So now we take 161, we have to divide that by 7. Gives us a nice answer of 23. So divide both sides by 7. X is equal to 23. But now we have to be careful, right? We are not done with this problem. If we look at the original question, it says, what are the measurements of RQS and TQS? Right, our final step would then be to plug these back in for x. So 4 times 23 minus 20. If we do that, we get an answer of 72 degrees. And now we'll do the same thing for our other angle. Right, 3 times 23 plus 14. We get an answer of 83 degrees. And we can always double check our answer. We check to see, is 83 plus 72 equal to 155? And yes, it is. So that is it for today's lesson 1-4 about measuring angles.